This video is for the 15-4 work together. This is the part 2 video. So we're starting on step 2 in this video. If you have not completed step 1 yet, you need to go back and watch the 15-4 work together part 1 video. So we are on step 2. It says that we are going to prepare the heading and record all the account balances except for, note this, except for federal income tax expense on Southside Electric's adjusted trial balance at December 31st. So first we need to put in our heading. Our heading is who, what, and when. So our company's name is Southside Electric. That is our who. Our what is we are preparing an adjusted trial balance. And our when is going to be December 31st, 20 --. Now, they've already filled in all of our account names, which is awesome. And they filled in a lot of the totals, the debits and credits too. So we just need to go in and fill those ones that are missing. So I'm just going to go line by line. Big thing that we want to remember here is we want to make sure that we are looking at if those balances are debits or credits, because if we put it in the wrong column, that's going to throw off everything. Okay, so allowance for uncollectible accounts. I'm going to actually unpin that so that I don't have to do so much scrolling back and forth. Is going to be a credit balance of $3,463.67. Merchandise inventory. This should follow right along with our chart of accounts that we have here, our general ledger, I should say, up here. A debit of $96,471.25. Supplies office, debit of $548. Supply store, debit of $640. Prepaid insurance, debit of $1,600. Interest receivable, a debit of $69.33. Accumulated depreciation office equipment, a credit of $4,545. Accumulated depreciation store equipment, a credit of $16,004. Federal income tax payable. There it is. So here we do not have a balance in that account. Nope, sorry. So we're going to leave that blank. They don't show us our balance. And then income summary. We have a credit of $1,625.94. Remember, this one here could be a debit balance, so just make sure that you watch that. You could have a debit or a credit balance in income summary. Depreciation expense office equipment. We have a debit of $2,150. Depreciation expense store equipment, a debit of $7,440. Insurance expense, we have a debit of $9,600. Supplies expense office, we have a debit of $2,560.08. Supplies expense store, we have a debit of $3,843.62. Uncollectible accounts expense, a debit of $3,415. And so they tell us not to put that expense in there, but now they've put that expense in there. So I don't really know why they did that in the directions. And then we have our interest income, and we have 533.33. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin that back up. And they don't tell us that in the directions either, but it does show us that they're wanting us to total this. So I kind of skipped ahead here. I decided, so they do have this in here that they want us to total this, but this is not a correct step. We would not be totaling and have equal totals at this step right now because we still have to figure out our federal income tax. So I went ahead and I put in, I put the total in, but then I left these two blank. And this is what they say the answer should be. We're going to ignore that, okay? So it's okay for you to totally leave these two blank and grade your step 2, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and go to the next step. Now, step number 3 is when we're going to be calculating our federal income tax. And so it says, using the tax table shown in your text, we're going to calculate the federal income tax owed for the fiscal year in the tables below. And so they've set up this great table for us. Just a heads up, you will need to know this without the table. Okay, so you'll need to know how to figure out your taxes without the table. So what we need to do is we need to total our income statement credit accounts, and then we need to total our income statement debit accounts, excluding federal income tax, okay? And then it says equals net income. We will figure that out, that net income before federal income tax. So to figure out these two numbers here, we need to look at this adjusted trial balance, and we need to add up our income statement credit accounts first. Income statement credit accounts. Now, this is where I said we're going to break this up. We're going to find where income summary is. So I'm going to scroll through. Income summary is about halfway through. So here's my income summary. I'm going to go income summary down, and I'm going to add up all of the credit amounts. Now, here's the thing. Remember I said income summary sometimes has a debit balance, sometimes has a credit balance. It depends. So in this case, we see a credit balance. We will add that credit amount, okay? If it was a debit balance, we would add it in with the debit accounts. So I'm going to be adding up from income summary down, okay? So I'm going to pause my video and add. I want you to do the same. It's great practice to make sure that you are getting the right numbers. If you have your number here wrong, that's going to throw off this number, and then that's going to throw off this number, and then that's going to throw off this number. So it's super important that you are very careful when you are adding up your numbers. Now, personally, when you're adding up those numbers, I would add those numbers up twice just to make sure, just to make sure that you have the correct answer, okay? So I got 536,948.17. Now, if you did not get that number, I would go back through and make sure that you're looking at your numbers correctly, okay? Try to figure out what you added wrong. Okay, so now the next part we're going to look at, it says that we're going to add up our income statement debit accounts, but this is important that we pay attention to. It says excluding federal income tax. So we do not look at that federal income tax right now. So again, I'm going to start at income summary, and I'm going to add from income summary down. Okay, so technically my first debit that I come across is my sales discount. Again, I'm going to pause my video, my recording, so that I can add up the numbers. I suggest that you pause as well. Okay, now here is this number, this federal income tax expense. This is the number that we do not add in. So if you added this, subtract it. You do not add that into your total. Again, personally, I would add this number up twice. Make sure that I got the same number twice. You should have gotten 395,360.48. Okay. Now, if you did not get that answer, I would go back, try to figure out where you went wrong. If you typed a number in wrong, if you didn't add in a number, what it was. I would say this is the most, this is the biggest part where I see students make a mistake, and I would say it's probably because of math. And like I said, if you get one of these two numbers wrong, everything else is going to be wrong. Okay, so this is extremely important that you are careful when you are adding up your numbers. Okay, so now I'm just going to follow what it says here. So I'm going to take that top number and subtract the second number. And I get then 141,587.69. Okay, so this then becomes my net income before federal income tax. Okay, now in this first one, it says net income before. I'm just copying this number again. So 141,587.69. Now, this says my of the amount over. For this next part, you're gonna need to have the book. And so I'm going to show you how to get the book when you're on MindTap if you have not done this before. So over here on the right, you should see a little icon that says full book when you point to it. And so I'm gonna click on that, and then that's going to open up the side screen of a full book for me. Now it's going to go to the front page. I don't know what page I'm looking at, so I'm going to click on this here, which this TOC stands for my table of contents. Okay, and I'm going to scroll through. We're in chapter 15, so I'm going to go ahead and find 15. I'll click on 15 here, and now it brings me to chapter 15. That's just going to make it a little easier to go to. We're going to have to scroll through, and I don't really know if there's an easier way to go through this, but I'm looking for 15.4. So I'm going to need to keep on scrolling through. Oh, look at that. If I go down at the bottom here, I'm learning right along with you. So there's 15.4. I'm just okay, and so this is what I want, the calculating income, nope, sorry, calculating federal income tax. Okay, so here, so this is the tax table you want. The annoying thing for me is I can't really make this bigger on my screen. You might be able to make it bigger on your screen, hopefully, but this is the tax table that we're looking at. And so what we need to do is we need to figure out this amount, where it falls, what tax bracket. And so it falls on the one that's highlighted in the book. So it's over 100,000, but it's going to be less than 335,000. Okay. Now my over the amount of the amount over is going to be 100,000. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Now it shows me I'm just subtracting these two numbers to find my net income that is subject to marginal tax rate. Okay, so I'm going to take 141,587.69 minus 100,000. And I don't even know why I'm putting that in my calculator because that should be easy math. So I get 41,587.69. Okay, now I need to put in my marginal tax rate. Now, I can't see that marginal tax rate on mine, so here's a trick that I found. If you cannot see this whole tax rate schedule table, right-click on it with your mouse. I'm going to right-click with my mouse, and I'm going to say Open Image in New Tab. And then I'm going to click on my new tab up at the top. And so here's my tax rate schedule. So little trick I just figured out. Okay, so my marginal tax rate is this 39%. So I'm going to go back to my tab and I'm going to put in 39%. Okay, and now I need to take my net income subject to that rate and multiply it times that rate. So the amount that I get is this 16,219.2. You do need to round it up. That's how I got the 0.2. Okay, so this is the end of the part 2 video. Go to the part 3 video to watch the rest.